Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, beautiful people. Good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is, whatever the time frame is at, wherever you at, just know it's good. Because why? This is the day that the Lord has made, and I will rejoice and be glad in it. As always, God is good, and He is good all the time. All right, so we're just going to dive in, y'all. This motherfucking video is going to be about the streetball community, the basketball community, and, mostly how it's attached to the YouTube community. But let's just dive in. You know what I'm saying? You don't need no introduction too much. We're just gonna go in there. So let me tell you something, right? So a lot of this, you're gonna hear my perspective regarding the basketball community, especially the streetball community. Some of it is going to be opinion based. However, some of it is going to be tailoring motherfucking stats around, the different demographics to help support my opinion, my stance, right? And so off the rip, this video is about the fact that I'm very annoyed with how gentrified basketball has become. I mean, it has, over the years been leading up to becoming more gentrified, but now sitting up at 2022, I mean, it's so pervasive. You can't help but see how gentrified the basketball community is, especially on YouTube. So to provide some insight as to what I'm talking about, right? So if anybody who pays attention to the YouTube community, people can motherfreaking point out when gentrification is taking place in certain neighborhoods and certain communities where certain people are where certain people used to reside and now they're moved out. They've been motherfreaking displaced, and now you got this new group of people coming in. You know what I'm saying? And people can, to some degree, make sense of that when they're looking at it through the lens of like communities, neighborhoods, such like that. Even the education, your job, stuff like that. But what people have issues with seeing changes, especially in the direction of gentrification, are these spaces that were not created for these people that are now taking over. To provide insight as to what I'm talking about, right? Basketball in general, not just street ball, but basketball in general. When black people got involved in on this, we took it to a whole nother level. It's the same thing with the NFL. Without black athletes, you won't have the NFL. You won't have the NBA. I mean, you will, but it won't be to the same degree. The landmark reaches that a lot of these athletes has made, like LeBron James and, I don't know, Dwayne Wade, Steph Curry, these things would not have been able to have been accomplished if it wasn't for motherfreaking black athletes. I mean, majority of your favorite athletes, when you think about basketball, football, 9 times out of 10 is going to be a black athlete. Why? Because majority of these spaces are filled with black athletes. And 2, majority of the better athletes are racial minorities and predominantly black. When you hear talks of GOATs, the greatest of all time, when it comes to not even just basketball and football, but even boxing, majority of the time, it is motherfreaking black folks whose name come up. It's the same thing when you look at the music industry. It's just, when it comes to entertainment, period, majority favored artists are black folk. That's just what it boils down to. Culturally, you'll have your favorites. Like, if you're Mexican, ideally, more than likely, especially if you're not so enrooted in the United States and American ways and all that junk, you still in tune with your actual culture, Mexican culture. You'll see. You have a little bit more diversity with your likings. However, when it comes to things that are mainstream, like basketball and football, it's going to be somebody black. When it comes to something more mainstream like music, it's gonna be somebody black. That's just what it is, right? But then when you look at these spaces now, as time progressed, you know, when you look at it from the beginning, when these spaces were predominantly full with black folks and easily identifiable black folks, I'm not talking about no passing white folk, okay? I'm talking about easily identifiable black folk. When these spaces were filled with easily identifiable black folk, they weren't making the money that they, you know, that they making now. You know what I'm saying? They weren't getting the opportunities that they have now. A lot of, I mean, when you look at stuff like the, you know, the cinema industry, when it comes to TV shows and movies, a lot of the up and coming producers and artists that are, you know, that have spaces now, these spaces would have never been, you know, in existence if it wasn't for old school people making moves like the Wayans brothers, right? The Wayans brothers opened up not just opportunities for black comedians, but opportunities for white comedians that wasn't treasured by, you know, the good old boys, right? Jim Carrey. Everybody knows about Jim Carrey, and a lot of people overlook the fact that Jim Carrey started off just like the rest of them, just like Eminem, just like Justin Timberlake. They were created by black people. When black people accepted them into our spaces and we started to allow them to feature, you know, in our songs, or we will feature on their song, you know, when their sound, the music, or their, you know, their approach with the comedy would shift and it, you know, and make its way around. It was black people supporting Jim Carrey, right? But then the same thing with Eminem, the same thing with JT. But when they get to this place of like, okay, I made it, they motherfucker ditch us black folks. You know what I'm saying? And that's the part that I don't like. That's why I don't like the direction that sports are going. It's going in the same direction as like television. You know what I'm saying? It's going in this direction of like, okay, easily identifiable black people done made some moves, you know what I'm saying? They done created new spaces, you know what I'm saying? They done created new styles and genres. So now let's go find people that we feel are acceptable and put them in these spaces. So going back to basketball, right? The reason why I feel that basketball is gentrified, I mean, come on, look at the NBA, okay? Even the NFL. The spaces, these sports spaces that has the most limitations are the ones that are predominantly made up by black people, right? You don't have to worry about motherfreaking popping on the piss test for any form of drugs when it comes to like hockey. You know what I'm saying? Or something like that. You know, you can show aggression in these white dominant sports like, you know, hockey, field hockey, rugby. I mean, you can show just about anything. They can do just about anything. They don't have the same limitations and obstacles as their, you know, people have that are in these spaces that are predominantly filled with black folk, like the NBA and the NFL. You are more likely to get in trouble for smoking weed with the NBA, the NFL. Why? Because there's more black people. You are more likely to get in trouble in those spaces than you are motherfucking hockey. I have not ever heard of a hockey athlete in all 29 years of my living getting in trouble for marijuana smoking. I mean, even when little swimmer man, what's his name, little white dude, Michael Phelps, when swimmer man got in trouble, it was a slap on the wrist when he did what he did. He full blown got into drugs. But y'all remember what happened to Miss Robinson? I believe that's her name, the teenage kid that was gonna run track, and she had lost her mom on the way, and you know, they put all her stuff on hold, hindered some stuff. But when it came to niggas like Michael Phelps, it was just a slap on the wrist. This is the stuff that I'm talking about, is that there's double standards. There's not this equality all the way around. You know what I'm saying? And the thing that gets me going back to the basketball, especially on the YouTube community, is that you got all these like really dope ball players, yet the ones that make it big, or the ones that constantly being circulated on the YouTube algorithm, they're not mother freaking niggas. They are people who have gentrified basketball. Let me tell you something. For example, don't get me wrong. I like watching Marcellus Howard, you know what I'm saying? Every now and then I watch his brother's content, Drifty J. I think it's kind of dry, but every now and then I watch it because me personally, I just like the sport. I don't really chase like the entertainment realm. Every now and then, you know, I like entertainment. I mean, if I was to chase entertainment, I'd be watching Chris White all the time because I honestly, negativity drives us. You know what I'm saying? And that nigga is full blown negative. Like, he thrives on it. His whole existence and being big in this community was developed off of negativity. You know what I'm saying? But even Kenny Child, you know what I'm saying? What the freak is Kenny Child? They talking about the dude is a card collector, not even a basketball collector. But a lot of times when you hear these niggas' name get put up, you know, when they come up with these lists of who's the best this, that, and the third basketball hoopers, whatever, on YouTube, who is it? And they always putting up the same motherfreaking names. Niggas like Kenny Child, Devontae Friga. Okay, honestly, if it wasn't for Devontae's motherfreaking first name, I would never thought the dude was black. You know what I'm saying? Not easily identifiable. On top of the fact that his swag is just lame. I mean, there's a swag that black people just have naturally, you know what I'm saying? And his swag is not, it's not up to par, you know what I'm saying? So I didn't think he was black till I, you know, because when I first heard about him, it was D Frigga this, D Frigga that. So I'm like, oh, it's a little curly haired white boy, probably a Jew, you know, a Jew, you know what I'm saying? But, and when I go like this, it's because the Jews who out here think they're Jews, you know, yeah, y'all Jews, Ashkenazi Jews, aka German Jews. You're those that are residing in Israel currently. You're not the original Jews. Check out the book of Revelations where Jesus straight up said, God said, he said that he knows about those who are falsely claiming Jews. And when he come in return, he gonna set stuff straight. He gonna show that those self-proclaiming Jews are actually the synagogue of Satan. So that's why I said that. I'm a firm believer and I go by the Bible. You know what I'm saying? I'm not perfect. And the Bible checks me, but I go by the Bible. So that's why I did the Ashkenazi Jews. But anyways, I thought he was an Ashkenazi Jew. But then they come out, dude's name Devontae. So I'm like, oh, he must be like motherfreaking Cam Wilder. Another gentrified, you know, nigga. And it's nothing against him. It's just, for me, I don't understand why these dudes' names keep coming up. Even Nick Briz and Chris White. I don't understand how these niggas' names keep coming up in the spaces of Streetball. And you overlook people like Jay Jones and Bone Collector. And there's like several other, Will Tune In, Uncle Scoob, that's what I'm talking about. Uncle Scoob, right? These spaces aren't even, these players are not in these spaces as the rest of them, right? And then we get this little thing thrown on it. Oh, but they're not big YouTubers. Cash Nasty is summed up in this hooper space, and this nigga trash. He is trash at basketball. Literally, if it wasn't for the fact that he had insecurities and was like, let me get in the gym because I'm unhappy with my scrawny body and big A head. You know what I'm saying? If it wasn't for that, dude won't have nothing to go for. Like, he literally utilizes his strength and the fact that people underestimate him and just let him do whatever he do because they don't expect him to shoot. Right? And it's like, bro, nah. Why are these weak niggas' names constantly thrown up and stuff? Flight. Nothing against Flight. And I'm not saying if you trash at basketball, you shouldn't play basketball. I won't ever say that. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not that stellar at basketball. If anything, I'm probably skill-wise a lot better now in my adulthood than I was when I was younger because I didn't have it programmed in my head to like work on basketball, you know what I'm saying? I just was like, oh, I'm athletic, and everyone knew I was athletic, so every time I went to go for a sport, I made it and got varsity every rip. I never played JV, modified, none of that. And when I played sports at school, it was strictly varsity, even basketball. And I had only I never played organized basketball until my senior year. You know what I'm saying? So, and I made varsity. And it's not saying like we're trash or anything like that. Cause if you knew my school, you know, we weren't that trash. Modern time, we a bit trash. You know what I'm saying? But back in the day, my school, we was booming. But yeah, in the past, I literally depended on my athleticism because I didn't know the rules of sports. Even when I started playing softball in high school, right? I literally learned the sport as I went because I was hitting balls at the park at school or at church, when I get out of school, go to the park nearby home, play, was always playing outside and active. So in that sense, I can play any sport and I can excel at any sport. You give me just a little bit of time to get some knowledge on it, I'm going to dominate. Trust and believe. However, you know what I'm saying? So I don't think that just because you're trash that you shouldn't play basketball. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that people who like Flight, his name shouldn't be brought up in these spaces just because the nigga got a couple million subscribers on YouTube. Like, I think that junk is whack, that YouTube basketball, y'all just jockstroke and motherfucking nut coddle these people just because of their following and because you want, you basically want to piggyback off of them to get, because honestly, why would a street baller link up with Cash Nasty and do anything? The dude's not a street baller. When you look at his content, he didn't come up playing. Every now and then he'll probably get in the gym and shoot the basketball around. But for the most part, nigga was big-ish for being known for, playing 2K. Playing 2K and physically getting out there is completely different. I know dudes who are a beast physically playing basketball, but they'll get washed playing 2K. And they'll tell you in a heartbeat, soon as they lose in the 2K game, all right, nigga, let's hit the gym. Let's get on this basketball court, right? And niggas know, nah, bro, I can only see you on 2K. 2K and basketball is not the same thing. It's not the same thing. And I'm not saying that people can't, dip and dabble and interact in different spaces. By all means, make yourself versatile. You know what I'm saying? If you trying to, expand your brand by adding more stuff to you and you want to, dip into this basketball community because the basketball community is pretty big on YouTube, go ahead. But I'm over the foul stuff, honestly. Like, I'm just over the slick disses and I'm over the gentrified basketball. I am. It's annoying. I'm over it. You know what I'm saying? That you got people like Uncle Scoob and even people like motherfucking Hezzy G. I'm gonna call him Hezzy G. I don't do that God play stuff because ain't no God like the great Jehovah. You feel me? So, but like Hezzy, right? This man, defense is trash. Defensively, he's trash. You know what I'm saying? But people don't click on his stuff to see him, defend people. People click on his stuff to see him, hold the ball for an eternity. You know what I'm saying? Do his little junk, disrespect people rolling on the floor. Because at the end of the day, it's entertaining. Because the whole time I see him do his stuff, I just be like, why do they just stand there? They just stand there and let him do his thing. They don't put their hands out. They don't try to get nothing. They just stand there. I don't get that. But that's what they click on. But Hezzy is painted the villain. Why is Hezzy painted the villain? If anything, Chris White has been beefing with everybody, getting on everybody's nerves. But Hezzy's the villain. I have my speculation as to why Hezzy is the villain. I honestly think Hezzy dark skin, right? There's not too many people in the YouTube community, the basketball community, excelling in dark skin. You know what I'm saying? You got people like Chris Staples, gentrified nigga, okay? Gentrified nigga. You got people like Jenna and all of them getting in this basketball community. And it's like, bro, honestly, I don't want to see niggas play basketball who parents, were considered middle class and they could afford to pump out hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars a year or whatever to get their child in some legit training because they're trash, naturally. Like when I click on Streetball, especially Streetball, it's one thing to just vaguely, generally be looking for basketball content. But if I'm looking for motherfucking Streetball content, I want to see niggas that raised up in the projects that literally, because if you think about it, when it comes to the basketball community, this is the way out for people who look like me. Easily identifiable black folk, right? A lot of us are programmed to think that this is our one way ticket out. I mean, there's even a stereotype attached to it that black people academically aren't that competitive, but they excel at physical, things like sports and street knowledge. Stupid as freak. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, it's these racist institutions and these racist ideas that has been pumped through the United States, and not even just the United States, but this world internationally for years, to the point where, there's this crippled mindset when it comes to black people, and that we're not really good for nothing but running the ball. Like, I mean, look at it. When you got people speaking out against police violence and brutality and murdering citizens, right, by black athletes, you literally got people coming out the woodworks like, yo, you're not paid to speak on issues that are affecting you, your family, and your fellow community members. We pay you to run a ball and make us money with our side bets and all that wonderful jazz. They literally treat us like that. And so when I click on Streetball, I don't want to see no motherfucking suburban niggas who parents could afford to buy them a basketball, hoop, you know what I'm saying? And had the space to put that basketball hoop in their yard. I want to see niggas who motherfucking parents had to accumulate debt to get their children a basketball hoop, and that basketball hoop is sitting on the motherfucking street with a bunch of tires stacked on top to prevent it from leaning, and you standing on the back. You got your homie, you got the heaviest homies that you could find, or you got a group of your homies standing on the back of the basketball hoop so you can dunk on that junk without it falling off. Those are the people that I want to see when I click these videos. I don't want to see appropriators. Don't get me wrong, I like Chris White's character. I could do without the appropriation though. Like when you look at this nigga old content, like I understand white people who raised in poverty, they have this weird crippled mindset where they think like, oh, well, I'm a monolith to black people because I know how it is to be black. I'm poor and white and I'm raised up in poverty and bro, it's not the same. It's not the same. Okay. Statistically, a white man with a criminal record is more likely to get hired for a job compared to a black man with no criminal record. Homie, we're not the same. Poverty does not give you that ability to see, oh, we're the same. Nah, bro. Because our poverty isn't the same. And our obstacles isn't the same. Because I've done it. I served in the Marine Corps. I've been alongside some poor white people, right? I've seen all types of white people. I've seen poor city white people. I've seen poor rural areas white people. I done seen some poor white people that come out of towns and villages and remote spaces. And ultimately, they come out to be the same, right? These ones that come from these remote places, these towns, these suburbs, the poor white people from out there, when they see these city white people attempting to dress like motherfucking Flavor Flav from the early 2000s to try to blend in with our, with black culture and stuff, they call them things like wigger. They clown them and all this other stuff. And those same dudes that walk around and act like the Eminems, the Justin Timberlakes, and, they act like these niggas from the beginning because they're in poverty. And when they go to school, they're like one of maybe 20 white kids in a school of 1,000. You know what I'm saying? So predominantly they spent majority of their time around black people because they because of the way that their lives is. But then when they get the opportunity to step away from the diversity and they get around their same types, they compadres, when they get around their compadres, homie, that whole I'm street, I'm hood, I'm one of the bros, I'm a nigga, I'm this, that weird mentality drops so dang quick, and they embrace that old town road mentality. I see it all the time, and it's prevalent in the Marine Corps because a lot of these niggas come from the city. They go to the Marine Corps, they get submerged with other poor white people, and it's like, bro, you're broken. Why are you acting black? You should act like us rednecks. And then they embrace that new culture. But these are the people that we elevate. And when I say we, I ain't talking about me, because I could do without. But these are the people that we elevate in these like spaces that were created for, and it was created for and by black people. You can't have street ball without the street. I don't understand. People be talking street ball this, and then they'll take it inside of some motherfucking gym. And then you got to think about it. Where are these gyms located? Unless you going to play at a rec center, homie, ain't no gym in the city. Y'all got to go to your nearest suburb, rural area to play at a gym. So it's not street ball when you done left a location that demographically is made up of niggas, racial minorities, and you take that junk to the suburbs and you play in somebody's gym. You want to play in the gym, take that junk to the motherfucking rec. Because the rec and street ball, they run 2 and 2. Because a lot of the niggas, that's why you'll see motherfucking niggas playing, you'll see black people playing basketball, and you'll see black people boxing. Because these are activities that are provided where? In rec centers, in areas where black people dominate boxing. Why? Because people of power, these white folks, they come to these impoverished neighborhoods looking for somebody who's been oppressed for so long, to the point where they done mastered. They done took all their frustration and their anger of oppression and they put it into their craft. So now they're a stellar motherfucking athlete. This nigga is laying niggas out in the boxing ring. This nigga is motherfucking posterizing everybody they play up against in basketball. This nigga is motherfucking juking past people. His run time is amazing when it comes to NFL. They flock to us to make up their stuff, because at the end of the day, you can't go to somebody who's been coddled, spoon-fed, and motherfucking benefits off of nepotism to make you some money. If you want something done, niggas know you gotta go find oppression. The best massages comes from women and men who are indulged in oppression. I got the best massage of my life when I went to Cancun, Mexico. There was poor Mexicans massaging me. You need pain in order to motherfuckers excel. And these niggas know. So that's why they come to these communities and they flock to go motherfucking. And then what gets me is that y'all go out of y'all way to try to mold motherfucking street ball to be like the NBA. The NBA shouldn't even be as gentrified as it is. I honestly think the NBA should be like how it was in the early times, 80s, the 90s, you know what I'm saying? Not this niggas out here flopping so they could get extra points on the board from free throws, you know? That junk is whack. Too big. You got niggas like LeBron James known for flopping. Nigga been flopping since he came out, 2006? Some trash? That junk is whack. And then you see it like people, when it's street ball. A lot of the people that play in the NBA, street ball made them. I don't like that you have these spaces like Ball is Life and House of Highlights. When they get street ballers into their spaces, people are like, oh, bro, you got to stop that. This isn't street ball. This is professional. This is House of Highlights. House of Highlights and Ball is Life go looking for rowdy niggas, man. They come looking for our type to make their brand excel. But then once you get our people in their spaces, now you got to gentrify it. You got to tone it down, you know what I'm saying? Because you got to remember, we got white people and we got docile individuals who benefited off of spoon-fed and motherfucking nepotism in these spaces. And we don't want their feelings hurt because they can't handle your type of, they can't handle your swag. They can't handle your type of aggression. It's a little too much, you know what I'm saying? And you do a little too much, they'll try to sue you, 9 times out of 10, you can't afford a lawyer. So simmer down. Simmer down. If you want these weak niggas to play in your space, then go get you a bunch of AJ LePrays.